What a week. This week, we went to war with Iran. 6 service members right now, as I am taping this, are confirmed dead. And then an Epstein bombshell drops. Well, first the news of what was removed from the files, and now they were put back into the files. And it involves salacious and really just very disturbing allegations against the president of the United States. Uncorroborated, but still very disturbing. And the question is, why has he not been questioned about any of this? It involves a 13-year-old victim. And is all of this just a distraction from the Epstein files, meaning going to war? Let's get into it. At least get the folks caught up. And I reported on this yesterday. So according to these, and Monique, you can correct me if I'm wrong, jump in here. There are these 302 reports that had been in the Epstein files that all of a sudden went missing from the Epstein files. And a 302 report is the government or the FBI agents. It's how they memorialize what witnesses tell them about certain cases. Well, the Justice Department has posted a trio of FBI interviews with a woman who alleged that President Donald Trump sexually assaulted her when she was a young teenager after she was introduced to him by Jeffrey Epstein. The woman's central allegation, according to the FBI summaries of her interviews with investigators known as FBI 302s, is that Trump hit her after she bit his penis when he attempted to force her to perform oral sex. Now, that is according to that. Of course, he has denied it. They're saying that this is uncorroborated or unsubstantiated.
You could pick a random group of people off the street tonight here in Washington, D.C., just a random group, and they could probably do a better job than our government is doing right now with this. They don't have a goal. There's no strategic plan. There's no timeline. And what this is likely to lead to is, again, a long war with a lot of dead Americans and no rationale for how this is helping the American people.
The last time we did something like this, Steve, I think he's right. The last time we did something like this, it took us 20 years to get out of it.
Well, yes, but this is even worse than that, because when that happened, the Iraqi regime was deposed in about 100 hours of fighting. Mm-hmm. And in this instance, we're past the 100-hour mark with an air campaign that has no end in sight and has no objective attached to changing the regime in Iran, which won't be able to be accomplished without the proverbial boots on the ground.
Again, object on the ground of
I think that this is all very reasonable.
Well, first of all, I don't follow the crazy conspiracy stories that are online. I regret that anybody does. I find it quite sad, but also disturbing that people would believe some of what is put forth, like Pizzagate. So I have taken no steps to review anything that might have any connection to something which I think is totally bogus.
John Podesta, your 2016 campaign chair, appears in some Epstein file contexts. Social overlaps or mentions. Were you aware of any of the Podesta-related communications in the released files?
Can you please provide examples or the evidence that you would like us to review or the exhibits that reflect that?
Look at Hillary Clinton's face is like, you people are so fucking dumb. It's unbelievable. And I mean, I have to agree with her. Even Republicans are saying, are you sure you want to release this video? Because it makes them look really stupid. It really does. I mean, gosh.
Is going to be very close, but I believe we will have every Democrat. I can't believe that there's going to be a Democrat who wants to vote for another war in the Middle East. And then you have not just Congressman Massey, you have Congressman Davidson, Congressman Biggs. There are a number of people on the Republican side who agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know, Donald Trump said that the Iraq war was a disaster. He said Libya was a disaster. He ran because a big part of the MAGA base did not want another war in the Middle East. They rejected Lindsey Lindsey Graham. And yet here we have Lindsey Graham being the face of Republican foreign policy, as is evidenced by the fact that he was your lead guest. I mean, I believe this is a betrayal of a decent chunk of the MAGA base.
Jasper, I don't think he's wrong, but I don't know if that's going to affect them come 2026 or their support for Donald Trump. But there are lots of people, especially very loud voices on the MAGA side saying, what the hell are you doing?
To tell you the truth, I have thought a lot about Trump's political calculation here, and I cannot figure it out. It's completely inexplicable to me. But what I will say is it really can't be overstated how taking out the regime in Iran, the Islamic Republic, has been Netanyahu's number one goal for decades. And Netanyahu and the Israeli military, frankly, are very bullish right now on what they've done in terms of taking out Hezbollah and all of Hamas's leadership. And it was a matter of time before they went for taking out the Ayatollah. And history shows us that the U.S. usually supports what Israel wants to do militarily. And I think that, again, I don't know exactly what the calculation for Trump is. In fact, I have no idea what it is, but I think that Israel was going to do this one way or another. And if you consider it from that angle, then the U.S. was probably going to support them in some way. And I think you add to that Trump is, high on his own supply after what they pulled off in Venezuela, and he's feeling like, they snubbed him with the Peace Prize, so now he is just, on a sort of rampage and feeling like I think perhaps he believed that he like all these years and decades, even of him saying we don't want another forever war in the Middle East, maybe he just sort of like all of that was erased, and now he thought maybe we could actually do something quick and dirty. And that's why I think now he's sort of wavering back and forth on how long it's going to be and what it's going to look like. In other words, I think Israel knows exactly what they're doing, or I should say they know exactly what they want to be doing, which is full-on regime change in Iran. While they're doing that, strengthening their stranglehold on the West Bank and on Gaza, and basically fulfilling all of their sort of regional dreams. And the U.S. is supporting it, and as we always have, frankly.
The people who were invested in Donald Trump and who have been so disappointed in him and who supported him maybe the first time, maybe the second time, some of them the third time, but some of them did not. But all of a sudden, they did have an epiphany and they were awakened in a sense, like Tim Dillon, who is not a lefty, liberal, lunatic, or whatever, as they call them, but someone who has been on the right and who has supported right-wing politics and has supported, I believe, in the past, Donald Trump as well. And he's not far off from what I'm saying and what James O'Brien is saying. Play Tim Dillon.
I don't give a fuck about Iran either. Sorry. Throw him out if you don't like him. It has nothing to do with me. And the fact that the idea that I have to give a flying fuck, you should be standing with Iran. Shut the fuck up. Will you shut the fuck up? If they want to throw the bums who run Iran out, throw them the fuck out. But the idea that the United States of America, when people can't afford houses and they can't afford health care, spends all its fucking time talking about the Middle East and fucking Arabs and Jews and religion and the fucking temple and slaughtering the heifer and Iran and Sunnis and Shiites. Get what the fuck is going on? Truly. What the fuck is going on? That we're told, well, is Iran Sunni or Shia? What is happening? Okay? Our own country is being destroyed and it's going down the toilet.
Not wrong. Not wrong. More than 50,000 U.S. troops deployed to the Middle East. That's the latest news that's coming out now. So for all of you people who are saying, we don't need to be in the forever wars, we don't need this, we can't do this, this is the president of peace, all of that, that is bullshit. Because additional troops are being deployed to the Middle East as we speak. Will they be deployed to go to the ground? Will there actually be on the ground? That's the question. And my answer, my gut, is yes. And for what? For Epstein? Because of bad polling numbers? Because of how terribly you handled Minnesota and others? Because the goons that you had out there on the streets killed innocent Americans? For what?
I mean, just to piggyback on that, that is an incredible opportunity for Democrats, and they have failed to capitalize on this for over a decade. Joe Biden tried to make MAGA a separate thing from Republicans. It's exactly the opposite of what you would do if you wanted to defeat Republicans. You would make them own everything Trump does, because Trump is able to function in that world and to get away with it, whereas your average Republican would not be able to deal with that. And so by never tying Donald Trump tightly to the rest of the Republican Party, the Democratic Party has failed. They failed in 2016 in the summer to tie Trump to Ryan and to McConnell. They failed in the 2024 election by tying Republicans to MAGA, but instead made MAGA some type of separate entity. It was a huge political failure.
Now, I want everybody to pay close attention to this, because this one is really important. Because she is saying that, again, Cory Booker saying she's lying under oath. This is Senator Blumenthal trying to introduce her to people who are American citizens, who she did not, and her goons, ICE goons, did not afford due process to. Watch.
Miramar Martinez is with us today as well. She's standing right behind you. She was on her way to donate clothing at her church when she came across an unmarked car. The agents sideswiped her car. 3 masked agents in camouflage stormed out, and one of them pulled out his gun and fired at her moving vehicle, hitting her 5 times. She almost bled to death. Wouldn't you agree that shooting Miramar Martinez on her way to donate clothing at her church, a United States citizen from Chicago, is wrong?
Sir, I don't know the situation or the case. I'll look into it to ensure that all the
I'm
procedures
glad you'll
were followed
look into
properly.
it. Miramar, by the way, was falsely charged with impeding law enforcement, but the case actually fell apart. The judge dismissed it as being trumped up. He dismissed it with prejudice. And in fact, the agent who shot her, I'm not going to name him, but you know who he is, was quoted on social media the day or so afterward. And he said, quote, "I fired 5 rounds and she had 7 holes." Put that in your book, boys.
That was the very short version of that soundbite, because that agent went on to say, we've got Kristi Noem and others on their side, and who else can we get? I'm paraphrasing here, to who have effed around and found out. That's the attitude of those ICE goons that were out there on the streets and are still out there on the streets. Make no mistake about it. They're trying to pretend like, oh, this is stopped, we're going to pull back. They're still out there. They're still violating people's due process rights. They're still planning to send them to other cities. And as we get closer to the election, watch them continue to do it. Watch them put out more citizens. Put out more, ICE goons to go after citizens. And then when, this is my spidey sense, and then when all hell breaks loose, Then they're going to say this should be a state of emergency to try to take control of the elections. Noem ads. This is we've been showing you the Noem ads, but we haven't been playing with them with the audio. I just want you to see what this $200+ million allegedly bought. Here it is.
Why do I love these wide open spaces? They remind me of why our forefathers came here, not just for its beauty, but for the freedom only America provides. I'm Kristi Noem. From the cowboys who tamed the West, to the titans who built our cities, to the dreamers who chased the impossible, America has always rewarded vision and grit. Our greatness calls people to us for a chance to prosper, to live how they choose, to become part of something special. Anyone who searches for freedom can always find a home here, but that freedom's a precious thing, and we defend it vigorously. You cross the border illegally, we'll find you. Break our laws, we'll punish you. Harm American citizens, there will be consequences. But if you come here the right way, your American dream can be as big as these endless skies. From President Trump and me, welcome home.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I want my money back. Now there's a report. Now you would think that what Jamie Raskin just said would be the impetus for Donald Trump wanting to get rid of her. But according to the reports, Trump is floating firing Kristi Noem, is fuming over GOP allies after bruising hearings report. And by the way, I think I should have played this. This is the one, if you'll bear with me here, Steve. John Kelly of Louisiana is the one that apparently this is the impetus of him wanting to get rid of her because he didn't like her performance and his questioning. Here it is.
Of Kennedy?
I'm sorry, John Kennedy. Sorry, I said Kelly. John Kennedy.
After the two killings in Minneapolis, and I think there's a lot of video on them, Madam Secretary. I think people can see the video and draw their own conclusions. Are you and your department conducting an investigation of those?
Sir, the investigation is being led by the FBI. HSI was involved. In fact, our HSI agents on the ground.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I got so little time. I believe at the time you said these were acts of domestic terrorism. Is that right?
Sir, in answer to questions at the press conference that afternoon, it was that it appeared to be.
Yeah, but you said these appeared to be acts of domestic terrorism.
And as I've said previously in this hearing, is that
first, Madam Secretary, did you say
we're getting information from a chaotic scene on the ground and relaying information to the American people.
Okay. Now, again, those videos are public. People can draw their own conclusions. I think it'd be safe to say you got some pushback on that. Mm-hmm. Would that be fair?
Yes, sir.
And you had some criticism. I'm not saying the criticism was accurate or inaccurate. I think you did. What got my attention was that you blamed those statements on Mr. Stephen Miller at the White House. Did you not?
No, sir, I did not. And in fact, where you're seeing that is in a news article of anonymous sources. And anonymous sources say a lot of things, but I've never said that at all.
Steve, you get the gist of it. That performance was abysmal, but go on.
Well, I mean, at that place right there is just as a core matter of reality. We've all seen her say on video that I just did what Stephen Miller and the president told me to do. I just did what it. We all saw it. What she's denying exists on video.
And I think there's a war right now going on with young people and older people. And here's what I think. Young people receive all their information from social media. And they think that social media alone will win an election. No, it won't, because there are dinosaurs or older people who don't receive their information from their phone, who want a piece of mail that they can take into the poll with them, who want to take notes, who are not, they don't like anime campaign commercials. When I saw her campaign commercial, I was like, what is it saying? I mean, I didn't know she was saying she was a superhero. I didn't think that the commercial that I saw on Beyond the Gates would appeal to older people. You can say what you want to say about older people will vote. So you can't try to force older people to receive information like young people. It's not going to work. And so I don't think that there was a respect for retail politics the way it's always been done, and them trying to shove what younger people do now. And I don't know, you can tell me if you agree with me.
We're gonna punch him in the face. It's like, what is this? He's like a freaking college frat dude that's like just stepped out of the frat house and say, okay, bruh, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna punch them while they're down. We're gonna kick them in the ass. Let's go get these bastards. That's what he sounds like. I cannot believe that this guy is the defense secretary. It is embarrassing. And America should be embarrassed for accepting it. And Donald Trump, speaking in the Oval Office yesterday, Andy, let's go to that, where this is the concern, and it should be a concern for everyone when there is no plan. Because when I said to you, if you're going to do this, then yes, you are in the regime change business. You are in the rebuilding the infrastructure and government business. That's what you should be in. If you're going to go in and blow someone away and take out their leader without the express permission or consultation of the branch of government that you're supposed to look to, or even without NATO, if you're going to do all of this, then you are in the regime change business, and you need to make sure that the next regime, or whoever it is not going to be worse. But even Donald Trump, he's admitting there is no plan for that. He says, I don't know, the person who takes over could be worse. Here it is.
Mr. President, what's the worst case scenario that you have planned for in Iran?
Well, I don't know if there's a worst case. We have them very much beaten militarily from the military standpoint. They're still lobbing some missiles. At some point, they won't even be able to do that because we're hitting all of their carriers. We're hitting all of their missile stock. You know, they built up all these missiles over the last few years. They had a lot of them. They've shot a lot of them, and we're knocking out a lot. I guess the worst case would be we do this, and then somebody takes over who's as bad as the previous person, right? That could happen. We don't want that to happen. That would probably be the worst. You go through this, and then in 5 years you realize you put somebody in who was no better. So we'd like to see somebody in there that's going to bring it back for the people.
You elected him, and now you have to suffer the consequences. And in 5 years, we might be in this for 5 years. No one thought that Iraq was going to last that long, 20 years. Donald Trump is saying 4 weeks. And Alexander, you're in Tel Aviv right now? Where are you?
That's right. I'm in Tel Aviv.
You are. Yeah. And what's going on there? What is the mood there?
So, throughout the day, and there's definitely been larger gaps today than in previous days. We've had sirens, we've had, warnings of incoming rockets and attacks. There's definitely a sense of concern. People have been rushing into bomb shelters, and everyone's just waiting to see how long this carries on for.
The defense system can't stop all the missiles.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, in Israel now, there is this sort of multi-layer, not just of the air defense systems. There's the bomb shelters. There's the alert systems, the communications. But those that infrastructure doesn't exist in the West Bank for the Palestinians. It also doesn't exist elsewhere in the region, in the Gulf, such as in the United Arab Emirates, where they're also getting strikes. So sure, there's a sense of safety and security here, but it's not guaranteed. So
the 3 files are coming now as Democrats are investigating whether the department purposefully withheld materials that included SA allegations against Trump. Again, he has denied any wrongdoing in relation to the Epstein allegations, and he hasn't been charged with a crime in connection to them. We have to say that we know that. Anyways, there's no evidence to suggest that Trump took part in the Epstein sex trafficking operation, except, I don't know if there's any evidence he took part, but there are certainly some very serious allegations here, Monique.
Yes, this report by this woman is certainly a serious allegation. And the Justice Department at the time thought it was noteworthy enough to do consecutive interviews and ask questions, and then made a determination that it should not go further.
Okay, and why would they make that kind of determination? Do you know?
Well, I mean, it may be that they could not substantiate any of the claims. It may be that it's because the person can recall some things, but not others. And I think it's important to note that, though I hate ever quoting Carolyn Levitt about anything, she is correct that for the entirety of the Biden-Harris administration, this was known and available. And if any action was taken on it, certainly no action was ever taken to refer it for criminal charges or do anything public with regard to this particular allegation. The woman says that it happened either in New York or New Jersey. She cannot recall which nor exactly where. And that over age, over time, trauma, all of those things could affect someone's memory. But in reality, what it also affects is whether a case could actually be brought. Like if there was enough substantiation on this, then in New York, you have a certain period of time when for child sex assault allegations, it can be up until the person is, I believe it's 25 years old that the allegation can be brought, so that will have expired. In New Jersey, there's no expiration. So if it can be substantiated that it did happen, that the meeting happened, let's start there, where they were all in the same place, same time, figuring out which state it was in would be an important first step. And then where civil allegations are concerned, I think that those can be brought up until the time the person is 55 years old, whether it's in either state.
That was a lot for 1 year, let alone 1 week. And guess what? It's not over. Our next drop is tomorrow. Tune in. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.